Yo, what's up? My name's Dr. Pat, and welcome back to another episode in my Dungeon Defenders series, learning the game from scratch, all the way starting back over a year and a half ago now, from level 0, from nothing on my account, up to level 100 on at least one character, and we are still working on that. Currently, my Squire is level 98, my Mage is level 97, I have 152 billion mana. There's a ton of things, a ton of progress that I've made over this course of this entire Dungeon Defenders series at this point. And before I jump into anything, I have to do a little bit of box sorting. This won't be an entire episode dedicated to box sorting, but I do have some important things to go over and hopefully some upgrades from defeating last episode's full Nightmare survival map. If I recall correctly, last episode I ended up doing the Morago Desert Town on Nightmare Survival all the way to 35, and that was an adventure. I think that was the longest map I've ever played in my Dungeon Defenders career. I'm pretty sure it took me around anywhere from like 4 to 6 hours. I ended up taking a break at a certain time. It was really exhausting, but also quite rewarding. Not as rewarding as I expected, unfortunately. The end reward being a giraffe on a treadmill was not what I expected, but I think in the future my plan is to continue unlocking the Nightmare difficulty survival maps of the DLCs. Specifically now I have to go on to Sky City. Sky City, if I can beat this map on Nightmare difficulty and then complete the survival on this map, I believe it's like the propeller cat is the reward, and that was a reward that I wrote down over on my Dungeon Defenders notepad document probably over a year ago at this point. I wrote this without truly understanding exactly what it entailed, and we're just now finally making my way actually towards it. But before we do that, we have to prepare. A game like Dungeon Defenders is all about preparation, having the right builds, having the right items, invest in your mana, making sure all of your characters are properly kitted out. So today is going to be a little bit of preparation and then some XP grinding, I believe, on Ember Mountain Volcano. Now, I still have this radioactive coal from the recent January event, and I was presuming, or I presumed rather, it would come back next year in return, so I've been keeping my coal, but I heard a few people in the comments say that it actually doesn't return, and it was a unique event, which is really crazy to me to think that this game is getting unique events every year. That would really shock me for a game as old as Dungeon Defenders. That would be like monstrously impressive from the devs. I would assume this comes back every single year, and it's kind of like a yearly annual event that just pops up, but I could be mistaken. Let me know in the comments, should I just go ahead and sell this off, or should I continue to keep the stack? We have the golden donkey over here from the previous episode. I really enjoyed getting him, even if he's honestly not that bad. Like, I was thinking of him as like not that good, but he's actually not too shabby at all. I don't think pets get the 33% boost or whatever in stats from a matching set of armor, so that really factors into it, but I'm honestly going to keep him for sure. The rest of these I don't think I keep. I'm going to go ahead and just lock everything and then go through and individually unlock things. So for example, I think all of these birds, all these eagles, even though this one's very cool, like the colors on this one are awesome, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it. I don't think it's worth keeping. The giraffe on a treadmills, I will drop upstairs. The Squire Animus, I don't think this is worth keeping, even though it looked very cool once again. Like same with these, I don't think they actually have the stats to where it's relevant for me to worry about. This is a pretty cool visual piece of gear, but I think the stats on it are actually terrible. If you look at the tower stats on this, especially compared to my current one, this is an atrocious, like, mage staff. I'm not going to worry about that at all. This one's not that great either. This one looked super cool, if I recall correctly. If I actually unlock it and drop it, like this to me, it's very simplistic. But this is one of the coolest weapons I feel like I've seen in DD. I kind of want to keep this just for the visual. I don't know, this just really stands out to me as being so cool. I think this might be one of the rare pieces that I actually do just keep. I kept way too much at the beginning of my Dungeon Defenders career in terms of like fashion, and just inventory space is way more crucial than I anticipated it to be. But this might be one where I think I do want to go ahead and tag. I'll put in the good gear, even though it's not that good. Maybe we like name this could be over. This is a decent pet, but maybe we call something like fashion over here. We could go ahead and do a new thing and just call cosmetic. Perhaps keep this for the visual purposes. Maybe I'll get rid of that in the future, and I'll also decide, you know what, it's actually not worth keeping permanently, but for now we'll go ahead and do that. I've already unlocked a few things. Everything I want to keep should be locked. I'm gonna go ahead and sell all unlocked. That's okay. I locked all, so it should be okay. That gets us 13 million mana, not too much, but clears out some inventory space. This is a very cool item as well, the Triton's Warglaive. I want to just drop it and look at it really quick. I think this is an item I will be selling. Honestly, not as cool as I thought, to be fair. Kind of a backwards, like, wonky scimitar, almost, to some extent. Do you guys say scimitar? Scimitar? I feel like I've heard it multiple ways. I played a lot of RuneScape growing up, and I still hear like the different ways to say it: scimitar, scimitar. So yeah, I don't know the exact saying, but we're gonna unlock more stuff. I'm gonna keep this for now. This probably gets sold, but I have a big sweet spot for these shield like razor blade, because this was the reward you got when you beat the game, like originally, just from beating the storyline, like the original like the what's it called, the main map, guys, the like actual OG campaign. The summit, yeah, from beating the summit. And like I don't know if you would get it from just beating the summit or actually like opening the chest in there for the first time, but I've always fell in love with this item. I thought it was the coolest reward, the coolest item in the game. There was nothing else like it, and I have a really big soft spot in my heart for that style of weapon. These are all godly pieces. These can all get deleted, erased, sold off, easy peasy. Okay, I unlocked all the godly pieces. This should be the easiest sell. That's going to clear me up about 21 spaces of inventory. Very little mana, 11 million mana, but a lot of inventory space there. But I'm really here today to mostly, like, number one, clear my boxes, but number two, like, I should have upgrades. I have, like, a lot of new pieces of Ultimate, a lot of new pieces of Transcendent. I need to, like, go around to my different characters and truly see what I could upgrade. For example, I think that this pristine helmet might be an upgrade for my mage. As you can see, I lose like 300 HP on my mage towers, but that's okay. I gain a lot of damage. I gain 289 upgrades versus 167. I think this is a fat upgrade. I think I'm gonna go ahead and unlock this, give it to my hero, and also upgrades on my mage. I mean, it's probably one of the most important, probably the most important character I can upgrade, right? Let me go check. I do want to save anything. Yeah, pod viewers. Anything that is named after a viewer, I will always keep. I will never get rid of these. These will always get moved over to the pod viewers tab. So anything named after a viewer, I will always keep for the rest of time. Here, what I should do really quick before I start actually upgrading stuff aggressively on my mage, I'm going to go ahead and screenshot my current stats on my mage and then compare them to all the stats that are different after I actually go through, switch up my armor pieces, and then finally upgrade everything. I think that this is an upgrade as well. It's tough because my current body slot on my mage is so good, as you can see, like, but I think with the 33% boost, plus if I leveled this thing all the way up with the 248, I think this is an upgrade. This one's really close. This one's really close, honestly. This one's kind of sketchy, but I think it is. I'm gonna go ahead and give that. This thing is worth so much. But yeah, I think this is, no, it's definitely an upgrade. Look at the stats compared, unboosted. I think this is, after upgrading it, which should definitely be an upgrade. And this might be one of the best upgrades we see today. I mean, this is going to be after 370 levels of upgrades. I feel guilty because I'm getting rid of so many pieces of named gear that are named after viewers, so I apologize. If you guys want to have a piece of gear named after you, the best way to do it is just to leave a helpful or supportive, a kind comment that either positively impacts me, positively impacts, you know, another viewer. It could be a tip, a piece of advice. It could just be like a, hey man, this really, you know, this makes my day. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be like a super nice thing to me, but just something positive, whether that is a positive critique or a positive, just happy, positive message. You know, you can do positive things in different ways. All right, but that's all the pristine gear looked through. So now it's just time to go ahead and upgrade these bad boys. And this is going to cost me a ton of mana, but it is well worth it. I'm at 152 billion mana at the start here. Keep that in mind. I'm about to dump it, boys. We have 289 levels to go here. Is it worth to put it into resistances on my mage? I kind of don't think so. I think that's something I was thinking about. I think it's worth to put resistances into DPS characters, and I do want to get better at that. I do want to get better, and I am slowly, I think, getting better. My Barbarian has really increased its resistances a ton recently. I think as I want to get better at that, but right now for just DPS tower characters, I don't think I need to worry about that. I don't think I do. I think I want to pump this into damage for the most part. Maybe attack rate. I don't know how important attack rate is when it comes to like lightning towers and stuff like that. It's honestly hard to calculate. I'm just gonna boom, boom. I'll put one into each, honestly. Oh, am I maxed out on? Wait, how am I maxed out on? I don't know how this works. I don't know what happens where I get like maxed out. Can you only do? I think someone explained this to me once. You can only get like so many stats on a certain type of quality of gear. Oh, which is really complicated, which is unfortunate. It makes things a little awkward. Okay, we still have a lot of upgrades to do. I'm gonna go ahead and just pump all the upgrades, and I will see you guys after all the mana is spent and after we have our total stats calculated. All right, before I reveal my new stats, I have my old stats covering the current stats. I did want to go ahead and just show you guys. Yeah, so it clearly is the quality of armor impacts your ability to put like X amount of stats into it. So here we have a transcendent piece of armor, and it seems like 500 or 550 or so is the max. We have the perfect like transition here from transcendent up to supreme, which would allow me to go up to 680, and then up to ultimate, which went all the way up to 820, and kept allowing me to upgrade it, honestly. So that's a perfect representation. Transcendent is 550 or so. Supreme is 680. I wonder if you could like carefully, if it's like, I bet the cap is like 650, and if you carefully get it up to like 649, you could do a whole extra over top, like up to like 699 or whatever. I bet if you play it smarter, you might actually be able to put more into tower damage. That's the stat that I'm talking about. Let's make that really clear. But I also did spend, I started 100, I spent 12 billion mana. Honestly, not as expensive as I expected, to be totally blunt with you guys. But let's go ahead and compare the numbers, okay? Here's the old stats. Here are the new stats. Our damage increased by about 500. Our HP did decrease by about 200, but hopefully our defenses are good enough for that to be okay. Our area of effect increased by 700, which is pretty massive. And then our attack rate increased by 700. So that's a total of 1400 plus 5. We had a total of about plus, well, I guess minus the 200 HP, to be fair, minus, yeah, 200 HP. It's a total of about what? Plus 700 plus 5. Wait, I already fucked up. It's plus 1400 stats here. That's so insane. Plus 500. That's plus 1900. It's about plus 1700 stats in total. That's insane. We gained about plus 1700 stats across the board. That's just ridiculous. I said this once, I'll say it again. I feel like at a certain point, the way I'm able to upgrade like that much, like the fact that I can get my stats like that much higher in one upgrade session, that's gotta start cooling off at a point, because that can't last long term. I bet we're gonna be fighting over little like increments coming up here in the future. And I might have lied to you guys. I didn't expect today to be like a full gear episode, and don't worry, I'm not even close to being done yet, but I have a lot more upgrades to make, a lot more stuff to sort through, so I apologize. Not every episode can be me playing a map, and I want, most episodes to be me playing maps and having fun, but I'm honestly really excited going through my gear. It's really important to go through and actually appreciate the fruits of your labor, right? I feel like so many times in Dungeon Defenders, I hop on, make progress, don't appreciate that progress, and just log off, right? And it's good to, walk around the tavern, go through your armor, upgrade your characters. It's crucial to upgrade your characters, and I sometimes just kind of neglect that. I just want to play the maps instead of actually upping up my numbers, which is why I play the maps in the first place. So why would I be playing the maps if I'm not actually like using the reward? Let's think a little bit on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch around to a few other characters and try to get some better upgrades. I would love to put more upgrades into my summoner here if possible. I kind of feel like for a while I thought the Series EV was the most important after my mage, just because the booster beam is so strong. But I think people have told me, if I understand correctly, that the way the stats scale, like putting stats into your Series EV, isn't actually that relevant, because they don't scale that well with the booster beam. The booster beam is just at a base level broken, it seems like, and it seems like you just kind of ride that out. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if we have any upgrades on my summoner. I'm gonna screenshot these stats, of course, very quickly. Mostly focus on the tower stats on 90% of my characters. We have pretty good gear here, but like I definitely could see some possible upgrades. Hopefully we use leather gear. I feel like leather is one of the types of gear that I might have the most available upgrades for, so I'm kind of excited to sort through this one. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, after everything's said and done, I spent about, what, 8 billion mana there for my summoner quote-unquote upgrades. I don't feel that amazing about my summoner upgrades. You can actually see the stat differences here. I mean, I went from 2800-ish HP on my units up to 3100, 3614 damage up to 3656, and then plus 200 on the range, and then minus 150. So the bottom stats are the previous stats, and the top ones are the new stats. Minus 150 on attack rate. So I kind of went all over the place on this one. I don't like this. This was not an amazing upgrade. I thought I had some really cool leather gear, but I don't know. I guess it just didn't work out. You know what? I can go ahead and put some levels onto my fish, most likely. I really don't take advantage of the... Watch, I have no XP here somehow. Okay, this one does have some. That's nice. It's one level at least, but... Yeah, I don't have the massive upgrades I expected on my summoner. Unfortunately, I'm going to be super honest. That is everything basically max leveled. Yeah, so unfortunately, not amazing, but still small upgrades. What's the total stat difference? I guess we have... So the HP is about... What is that, 150? No. Is it 300 difference? 280, 285 to 31? I'm terrible at math. Absolutely terrible. To 9. It's like 250. It's like 250 stat differences. Okay, 250 there. About, let's say 50 here. I know it's kind of a high roll, but sure. So that's plus 300. And then we have, okay, maybe it's better than I thought. Plus 500 and then minus 100-ish. 150. No, we still gained about plus 350 in stats across the board and better, like in better stats. Like attack rates good, but not as good as HP or damage. I'll take that. I think that's not bad. Plus 350. It's probably pretty good, honestly. I'm sure there's a lot of people at endgame. This is mid game, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people at end game who are like fighting over like plus 30. Like a big upgrade for them is like plus 30 on like damage after fully upgrading and stuff, which I'm scared to get to that point, but also kind of excited. Now, I almost want to ramble about that in a future video while doing some Ember Mount, like I talked about. I don't think I'm going to get to Ember Mount Volcano today. That'll be I guess, in the few days video, but I have some stuff I want to discuss regarding grindability and just playability and like daily tasks and goals in Dungeon Defenders for sure. I'm going to move around to a few more characters and see what I can upgrade, maybe onto the Monk next. What type of gear do I have on the Monk? Oh, look at this cool weapon. That's actually so sick. I forgot I kind of have this, but yeah, let's go jump into this, check the item box. What do I have again? What type of gear? I have plate on my Monk. I feel like I have a lot of plate stuff in here, kind of underrated. I also did browse through my good gear. I did go through my good armor, my good gear, and see if I had anything on my summoner for this. I didn't do this for my mage, hilariously, but I think I'm just good, hopefully, on my mage. But for my summoner, I'm gonna look through this on top of going through the new stuff. All right, I switched out 2 pieces of gear on my Monk, the boots and the gloves, up to a supreme pair of gloves and an ultimate pair of boots. Here's the stats. The bottom stats are the screenshot of the Monk stats before making any changes, and my current stats, these stats are the stats before I've put upgrades into all the gear. So we already seem to have upgraded a fair bit of things. I mean, I'm missing, to be fair. I've upgraded HP a ton, but I'm down like 700 on strength, down 150 on radius. I have to hopefully this is upgrades. I'm a little scared I might just waste a bunch of mana here. Maybe I should calculate that beforehand. It's kind of scary, but I think we should be good. I think I should be okay. I'm just going to start dumping mana into it. We're spending a lot of mana today. Started at 152 billion, down to 134 billion now. And I'm always told that aura radius is the most important thing on a Monk. And it makes a lot of sense in Nightmare difficulty as well. Like on Nightmare difficulty, your radius is so unbelievably shrunk that it totally makes sense. Like it's not on Nightmare, your radius is like kind of massive. It's kind of fucking hulked out, but on Nightmare, it's so unbelievably shrunk that it makes sense that having your radius pumped into is the most absolutely crucially important thing. I'm a little scared here. My strength, I'm gonna need to put more into it. My strength is being super neglected here. My strength did drop kind of a ton, which makes me a little sad, but I think overall my stats are better. As we can see, let's go ahead and go through the math. So there's my final stats after the investments. I am up 500, maybe a Windows calculator, a little Windows calculator session would be helpful here if I could drag it properly. So we're up plus 500 ish, right, between the HPs. We are down 500 ish on the damage, so that's a wash. So we're trying to negate that. We're up 400 ish on radius, and then down 200 ish on rate. So we really only gained plus 200 stats here. And how much mana did we spend? I guess it wasn't that much mana. Did we only spend 2 billion? Wait, what happened? I don't understand. That was a weird leveling session. These were weird upgrades. I guess it's an upgrade. I don't feel great about that. We're getting more minuscule and more minuscule in terms of the upgrades here. I mean, I'll take the aura radius. I think it is nice. So hopefully it's something to think about with the aura radius is the larger your aura is, the sooner the minions are going to be put inside of it, right? So the more ticks or the more time you have to actually do damage. So I never really think about it like that, but aura radius almost increases your damage and attack rate as well, because the sooner the minions are inside of the aura, the more likely they are to be getting killed and like, you know, taking effect on them. So like, I get why Aura Radius ends up being, it's so funny, intuitively to me, Aura Radius, like if I just played this game casually and didn't have any advice, I probably would have prioritized Aura Radius like the least, but it actually ends up being the most powerful. Look at all these absolutely massive pieces of gear that are like 400 million, mana worth a piece. I'm gonna go ahead and moving these over to good armor. I'm gonna hop on to like maybe two more characters and see if I have any upgrades, but I think I'm running low on upgrades from this point forward. Over onto my Hermit, which I have been increasingly using, especially using those Forest Golems. Those Forest Golems feel like a pretty damn incredible build. He does use pristine armor, so I don't know if we're going to have much left over for him. I feel like pristine armor just ends up being my favorite, but it also ends up being, because of that, my characters kind of fight over, pristine armor. I try to spread it out. However, we might still have some nice upgrades just because the gear on my Hermits overall is not amazing. I'm going to go ahead and screenshot his stats and probably equip this. This is probably an upgrade for this character. All right, so I'm working on some Hermit upgrades, right? So I go to Google because I don't remember, what's the best stat distribution? What stats do I care about most on the Hermit? I honestly don't know, and I don't really remember. And I Google around for a while. I read forum posts. I check out YouTube videos, and I can't find anything. I know this is a frustrating thing. I can't imagine being like a new player in Dungeon Defenders nowadays, and I'm still like pretty much a new player, but I have access to a plethora of YouTube comments. I feel like the best place to go would probably just be heading over to the Dungeon Defenders Discord and like asking people, but that feels like a lot to like go ask of someone constantly. I wish it was easier to find. I'm sure there are resources out there, but I wish it was easier to find them. I have a really hard time when I Google search. I can't find something like a simple stat build for these characters. That's something I would like to try to fix that in the future myself, making YouTube videos covering those stat guides, but I don't want to put out underinformed or half-baked content. I don't want to put out a video like, hey, here's the stat build for the Hermit, and then be like, oh yeah, the best thing is actually attack rate, when that's not the case. Like when everybody in the comments like, oh, obviously it's attack damage. Like, come on, Retro Pat, like, we love your videos, but we want you to do better. I don't want to give people false information. I don't want to misinform others. I take that very, very, very seriously. And it's tough. It's tough to, but it's tough to find information and resources on the game. I had to go to my comments. The best way, like this is crazy to me, the best way to find a piece of information about Dungeon Defenders wasn't Google, wasn't the Wikipedia, wasn't the fandom. It was my fucking YouTube comments, which is crazy to me. And shout out being able to search through them and find people like Dennis, find people like Klobs talking about, I just searched the term Hermit, him saying the Hermit needs a lot of tower damage. That's the main stat. And then after that, it would be tower range, tower HP, and rate. I cannot express, someone like Dennis, who's very good at the game, it might take him 5 seconds to write this comment. For dumb players like myself, I cannot express to you how much like stress and frustrations this saves me. Like this kind of comment means the world to me. It is so fucking helpful. It is so important. And I would love to see more of it over across the internet in Dungeon Defenders. I feel like it is so hard to find that information, but little mini rant over, like it's hard for me to find guides to make these videos sometimes, and I don't want to I want to get better and better at the game at my own pace to some extent. I don't want to just like always look up guides, but there's some things like, what's the main stats for a Hermit that I think it's available, it should be available information. What the best stat breakdown is for each character, I feel like should be one of the quickest Googleable things, and currently it's not, and that makes me a little sad. I really don't want new players to get turned off from Dungeon Defenders just because they can't find resources on the game. That is a damn shame when this game is as unbelievably amazing as it is. But anyways, I think I switched out like every single piece. I think 1, 2, 3, like 3 different pieces of gear on my Hermit are all switched out. The only one I didn't find, I think I didn't have plate boots or something, or boots that were better. I think these boots, it's hard to beat with the 511. Actually, I mean, the boots that I think the current boots that I have are the best that I could go check out, to be fair. I don't know if I checked out the, what's it called? Actually, some of these might be better. I'll have to look a little bit closer. It's really close. It's really tight. I'm going to look over boots some more and then do some upgrades. I almost made a mistake. I actually forgot my Hermit was wearing pristine, not plate. I actually talked about plate armor in a previous clip. So, but I think I'm ready now. Well, okay, one last thing. I keep being distracted. Let me check my pets. I currently have Scorchy equipped. I might have a better pet. So we'll check that, which is unleveled. I'll check that out first, and then we'll level up absolutely everything. I'm about to pump so much mana into this character. Okay, this is actually extremely close. It's crazy. Scorchy is a pet that's worth 32 million mana, and yet the golden donkey is only worth 4 million or so. I've run into this a lot with my Hermit. I kind of think the donkey is better. It's really close. The Scorchy has nice damage, the 10,000 damage, but I'm not really going to be having my Hermit on the map a lot of the time. I'm just going to be building the stuff with him and then switching off. So, I mean, I think I'd rather just go ahead and have the donkey. Plus, this gives me an excuse to use the golden donkey. I mean, I'll take any excuse to use a golden donkey. Okay, I think we're good on all of our upgrades. Now it's just, I have 0 hero damage. Wait, that's really funny. Also, quickly before I do my upgrades, I am going to go ahead and sell these 2 pieces of these little accessories. I can't hold on to them. They're not worth it, guys. I'm sorry, but let's go ahead and get into our upgrades. Here's our current stat differences. The bottom stats are the old stats. These are the new ones. Before any upgrades, okay, the Hermit upgrades might be insane. Before we even upgrade stuff, we're plus 300 on HP. We are minus like 700 on damage. We'll fix that. We're plus 1500 on area of effect, aka your range, which is important. And then attack rate, we're down like 10. So, I mean, overall, we're up. I'm curious to see, very curious to see how up we'll be at the very end of this. Starting here at 130 billion mana, let's get to upgrades. All right, that donkey had some insane sound effects, but we are back. All right, let's go ahead and calculate how many more stats we have. So we have plus 300-ish on the, not 3,000, 300-ish on the HP, plus around 50, not a whole lot, honestly, on the damage, only plus 50 on the damage. The range, though, like, there was a comment, I think the comment even mentioned Klob saying, oh god, the Hermit range hurts to look at. Klobs, we finally fixed it, okay? We finally fixed that, because that was pretty bad. 400 range is, I don't even know how I managed to do that. That is plus 1,700. And then our attack rate, it did go down by 10, okay? So overall, we gained about plus 2,000 stats across the board on our Hermit. Talk about a fat upgrade. I was going to go ahead and just call it there, but I think I'm going to put a few upgrades, or at least try to upgrade my Barbarian. I do find my Barbarian the most difficult character to upgrade out of all of the characters that I have. I think it's because he's just so complicated. Number one, he needs all of his stats. Like, you literally do need stats into all of your stances, stats into, you know, all of your hero stuff as well, aside from like speed, once you're at that high speed. I was told, I also feel like I've seen different information on this. I was told that once you have 100 speed, everything else is like overkill on your character. Is that true? Does having over 100 speed matter? Let me know in the comments. I would love some clarification on that. But yeah, like you need your resistances are wildly complicated, and I'm getting better at wrapping my brain around them. They're getting much better, as you can see, like 70%. I know it's not nearly as good as it could be, but it's getting a lot better. It's getting a lot better from where it was at. My other stances, like you need everything on your Barbarian. You need HP, you need hero damage, you need to upgrade your weapon into its own weapon damage, you need to there's so much. It feels like there's always so much. You have 2 weapons to worry about, 2 weapons to upgrade, right? Like, your Barbarian it's complicated. You need absolutely everything, versus a lot of my other characters I can just kind of mindlessly upgrade with just focusing on the tower stats. But I'm gonna go ahead and screenshot my Barbarian stats at the beginning, which once again are the most complicated because you have to worry about absolutely everything, but I'm gonna try my best. We're gonna try to do it. Also, on top of it, you have 2 different weapons to upgrade. So you have to like screenshot all of those stats, because those weapon damage stats are going to be much different. They're also going to affect your main stats, but they also have their own weapon damage. It's complicated. It's just a lot to kind of factor in. But thankfully today, this might be one of the easiest weapon upgrades I've ever had to do, kind of, if that makes sense, because I'm pretty sure, how can I just drop here? Let me just drop them and store them. I'm pretty sure I have upgrades for both of these weapons, so I'm actually super excited. Let me first things first, to be honest. Let me first things first screenshot both of these, so I have both of these as well, which is, once again, complicated. More screenshots, more data, more little stats, but it also kind of means more fun and more upgrades. So let's get that done with, and then upgrade both of our swords today. It's also just super messy to upgrade your sword because you have all that like background stuff, like all the armor and stuff. If you're hovering over and you screenshot, there's still a lot of background information, so that's kind of messy. Here's our first sword though. I'm gonna go ahead and go drop this sword. Essentially, we're gonna drop this. We're going to upgrade swords one by one so it's easier to follow along. We're going to drop that. We're going to head over to our item box. We're going to head over to our good gear, our good weapons, and then we have some ultimate weapons in here for our Barbarian, which I'm so excited to equip some of these. These are massive, massive upgrades, I think. Also, this bone cutter is legit really fucking good. I don't know where this came from, but this might be kind of bonkers. I'm going to go ahead and equip that. Let's now compare these stats. Let's go ahead and get these up. So here's the old stats. Where do these pop up? They pop up down there. Okay, so we're going to move this. Fuck it, we do it live, boys. We're going to move this right here. We're going to compare our old stats, okay? Let's see if we can view it carefully enough. This is doing 51,000, I think. Oh, that's so much cleaner. Okay, so the left little screenshot, as you can see, is our old stats. To the right is our new stats. We went from 7,900 base damage to 51,000 base damage on this new sword. That is also without any upgrades. So let's just go ahead. I'll just upgrade this first, honestly, and then we'll do the comparisons after. Here, you know what? I actually have a better idea. I'm going to go ahead and drop this sword right over here. Go pick up my other sword. And then we're just going to straight up... I think the easier... Barbarian's supposed to be a monkey brain dead class, okay? Why am I comparing numbers and viewing things statistically? That is against the spirit of the class, okay? What I should be doing is heading over here, smacking the dummy, seeing my DPS, and then picking up other sword and then smacking dummy and testing DPS. That will be a much better representation. So we see about 34,000, 32,000, 34,000-ish damage. Let's now drop this. This is the true Barbarian way to test something. And look at this increase. This is with no level ups from 32,000-ish up to 177,000 DPS. We just increased our DPS like 6 times, and I haven't even upgraded it yet. And that's only one sword. Could you imagine after I switch the other sword? Things are... You know what? Let's go full monkey brain. I have one more test to do. All right. Now, this is how a true monkey-brained player does a test, okay? Now, if you're watching at home, just keep in mind, this is a professional barbarian, professional monkey-brained gamer, okay? So please don't attempt this at home. I implore you. Let's go ahead and smack around this dummy, see what our DPS can be. Ignore the one on the right. We're seeing 130k. It seems like 136k, 135, 136, 145k is the highest we see, okay? That's quite... Let me move over here. 150k it seems like. Highest I've seen. 150k. I'm going to keep smacking around for a little bit longer. We could start popping up some stances, but I just want to see pure damage. 150k seems to be the highest. Now, what if we equipped our new fully upgraded, okay? Our new fully upgraded swords. Don't look at the stats. Don't spoiler alert yourself. Our highest before was 150k. What can we get now? 615,000? 952,000? Dude, we just like 10 times, not quite, but like 6 to 8 times our damage. 6 to 8 times our damage on our Barbarian. Oh, I'm excited to rock this class, dude. I am excited to do things with him I've never done before. Maybe we'll take on like an assault type map next episode. I can't believe I just had these upgrades sitting in my boxes I didn't know about. And it's a classic. It's what I do, I guess. Oh, that's amazing. That's so fucking cool. It's going down because I'm activating stances that are more ranged based, but that's... I'm gonna store this. That's fucking amazing. Plus, how much cooler do I look? Like, come on! It's not even close. The coolness factor is so there. But I believe that is going to wrap things up for today's episode of Dungeon Defenders. Sorry for it all just being inside the tavern and gear upgrades. I always feel a little guilty when I upload these episodes, but I had a ton of fun, and it's so important to actually take the time to spend these upgrades, because what are you working for then? What are you doing? Why even play the game if you're not going to make these upgrades and make better progress? And stuff like this allows us to do more maps, more craziness, more exciting stuff in the future. So I'm just so excited. Thank you again to Dennis and Klobs for those comments. I cannot express to you enough how lost I would have been when trying to upgrade my Hermit without comments like that. You guys make this game possible to be played for me, and I cannot understate that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to leave a like on it. Dislike if you didn't, that's totally okay. Subscribe to the channel for Dungeon Defenders videos every 3 days, and I will see you guys very, very soon. And make sure to defend your dungeons today, of course. Hey, what's up? Retro Pat here, and I want to say a quick big thank you to everybody whose name is listed here, because it means you went above and beyond and supported me via the Patreon, which allows me to put more time, effort, and resources into this channel. Thank you so much, and have a great day.